when you form an image of something, so let's talk, we've been talking about like 90-day outcomes for this, for the short period versus kind of 1-year goals and 30-day outcomes and we talked about when it was last week when we did our plan for, what does a great May look like? And every week we do, what does a great week look like? And one thing I would stress is you want to form an image around that. So it's not just I'll be successful, because there's no image for success. It's you can form an image around I'm going to have this much money in my bank account, or I'm going to have set up a number of interviews that are going to help me, me or my company get this much revenue. It's got to be an image and some around it beyond just I'm making a placement, beyond I'm arranging 2 interviews a week. It's going to get me 20 grand. 20 grand is going to get me a couple months. It's going to allow me to pay down this. It's whatever. Because what happens when you form the image, 2 things happen. There are 2 parts of your brain. There's the fear-based part of your brain that we all have based on our history from birth till now. And your fear-based brain tells you what not to do. That's how you know if it's inspired by fear. Now, fear does play a role, for example, like, there's a car coming at you and it's not in its lane, and fear makes you kind of auto-respond and, move out of the way. That's good. But when it comes down to business implementation, what based on fear have you been not doing? Because that's generally where, if it's coming from fear, it's not true. And you've all heard Francis say that. And then the counterpart of that is intuition. And then how do you distinguish the difference between fear and intuition? If you've been in this business for a few years, you have a natural intuitive ability to kind of understand what's going to go on. You naturally know that if you have X amount of conversations, even in a down economy, certain things will lead to an opening. And if it's intuition feeding it, then that's generally something I would coach you to follow, even if it's risk-based, because we're never going to be 100%. I'm just looking at my notes. So when you look at what's forming the image, is it fear or is it intuition? Because if it's fear, it's only going to get you more of what you're afraid of. I need to save money right now. I need to cut back on my spending. You know what you're going to do? You're going to get less revenue. It's one thing, like I talked about, I think like a month ago, I took a quick look at our company and I just said, are any of these expenses not appropriate, or these investments not appropriate right now for what we're going to go through over the next 90 days? And I think I uncovered like $500 a month. Woo. And I said, okay, I've looked at my expenses. There's other than $500 a month that's not appropriate. I'm good. And I'm done looking at my expenses. I'm not going to sit there every week and look at my checking account and go, where can I save? Where can I save? Where can I save? Because what you're doing is you're shrinking your pipe going out, meaning you've naturally shrunk your pipe coming in. You can't shrink the pipe going out and open the pipe coming in. Energetically, it doesn't work that way. You've just got to be, I'm fine. I'm going based on intuition. My intuition tells me that if I execute on these activities, I'm going to be absolutely fine. Even in this market, we've given you all the metrics. The metrics are getting better and better every week. And that image must come from a point of desire. So when the image comes from desire, it's attractive and you'll get more of it. When the image comes from fear, it's not desirable, but you will get more of it. So if you're worried about running out of money, you're going to run out of money. If you're worried about money, losing money, you're going to lose money. And I can tell you, I've been in both in my life, and every time I went into fear-based, what I was afraid of became my reality. As I matured and I switched to what has to be true, you've heard me all ask this question, what has to be true now for whatever I want to occur, I get entirely different outcomes. And it doesn't mean it's easy. It's not like Pollyannish. Oh, I want to grow my business and I want to do this, this, and this. So boom, because I focus on that, it happens. No, what has to be true? Okay, for that to be true, these are the actions I need to take. But the actions are in alignment with an inspiration and intuition. They're not in alignment with what I'm afraid of. And what I see recruiters in every recession And even more so this one, because this one was like a kick right in the chest, to knock our wind out. Nothing has ever come on this quickly with us. Is you're kind of bent over, winded, and you're looking at the ground and you're not going, how do I get back up? You're going, how do I prevent not getting kicked again? And what's going to happen is if that's your focus, you'll get kicked again. I saw this in a training I was watching yesterday. It was brilliant. You must have an idea in your mind of where you want to go, because if your focus is where I don't want to go, you're going to go there. Wherever you focus on going or not going is where you're going to go. Oh, I don't want to go down to the point where I don't have any money and I'm working on my credit card, working off credit cards. Well, that's where you're going. Because all the evidence will then draw, you're going to go into constriction mode, et cetera. So you start from the solution, not the problem. So the solution is we've engineered it with you every week, and we're here to answer your questions on the solution every week. If you start with the problem, nobody's hiring, that's where you're going to stay. Make sense? Any